Ethan, are you really going to divorce Victoria and leave the country for your doctorate? In the quiet expanse of the living room, Ethan Cole looked at the shocked expression of Mrs. Sterling across from him and nodded. Yes, Mrs. Sterling. Besides, you know the truth. I wasn't the one she was supposed to marry. To her, I was just a contingency plan, a stand-in when the groom didn't show up. Now that he's back, she's been happier than I've seen her in years. It's time for me to go. Outside, a fine snow was falling, painting a deceptively peaceful picture. He chuckled softly. Studying abroad has always been my dream, anyway. Mrs. Sterling looked at the young man before her mind drifting back 3 years to her daughter Victoria's wedding. The groom, Julian Thorne, had fled the country, leaving Victoria standing awkwardly on the altar, eyes red, humiliated. It was Ethan who had stepped up, wearing an ill-fitting suit, and gently taken a microphone to apologize to the guests. Sorry, everyone. Traffic was a nightmare. I'm late. That single act saved Victoria's dignity and the Sterling family's reputation. Mrs. Sterling sighed deeply, asking uncertainly, will Victoria agree to the divorce? Ethan shook his head with a faint smile. I've already got the signed agreement. Half a month ago, he had presented her with the papers. Victoria, in a rush to meet Julian, had signed them without even glancing at the contents. Now, in just 7 days, the final decree would be processed, and he would be free. The Sterling family had deep military and political ties that restricted their travel. Once he went abroad, he and Victoria would likely never cross paths again. Mrs. Sterling was about to speak when a gentle voice drifted from behind them. Ethan, what are you chatting with Mom about? Ethan turned to see Victoria, whom he hadn't seen in days. She was wearing a stunning black evening gown, walking toward them. Victoria. Seeing her daughter, Mrs. Sterling prepared to scold her, but Ethan intervened. Why are you here? He asked, his tone a mix of surprise and comfort. He shot Mrs. Sterling a pleading look, cutting off her admonishment. I missed you, so I came pick you up on my way. Victoria's eyes held a trace of guilt. She had actually come specifically because she learned of his location. After saying goodbye to a worried Mrs. Sterling, they grabbed their things and left the estate. On the drive back, heavy rain lashed against the windows, but the inside of the car was silent. After a long pause, Victoria finally spoke. Ethan, Julian, and that's all in the past. He just got back to the States, and he had heart surgery a few years ago. He's fragile. As an old friend, I was just helping him get settled. I hope you understand. Ethan stared at the rain blurring the city lights and nodded. If only he hadn't seen how she abandoned a board meeting to run to Julian the day he returned. If only he hadn't seen her trade the watch he bought her with years of savings for a cheap bracelet Julian gave her. If only. There were too many if-onlys. Ethan didn't expect anything anymore. A soft sigh filled the car. Facing the husband she had married by accident, Victoria wanted to explain further, but remembering her behavior over the last 2 weeks, she chose to change the subject. Ethan, that document you asked me to sign 2 weeks ago, what was it? Ethan turned to look at her, his eyes holding a mix of surprise and bitter amusement. She was only asking now. It made sense. Since Julian returned, everything else in her life had become background noise. Ethan was about to speak when Victoria's phone rang. Seeing the name on the dashboard screen, her face tensed. It's fine, answer it. Might be important, Ethan said, feigning indifference. His calm reaction unnerved her, but she answered via the car's Bluetooth. Tori, I miss you. It hurts so much. Can we see each other? Hearing the whining tone, Victoria's knuckles turned white on the steering wheel, her expression turning cold. Julian, I'm married. I've told you this many times. Don't talk to me like that. There was a silence on the line before the voice returned. But Tori, the groom at that wedding, it was supposed to be me. The car screeched to a sudden halt, tires groaning against the wet asphalt. In 3 years of marriage, this was the first time Ethan had seen Victoria lose control. She screamed at the dashboard. But you left. You left me there alone. The line went silent. Moments later, a choked voice responded. I am sorry. I was sick. I didn't want you to worry. I didn't know it would be this bad. Tori, my heart. It hurts. It's fine, just let me die. Then I won't bother you anymore. And you can live happily with my replacement. The line went dead. Victoria panicked instantly, looking at Ethan. Ethan spoke first. It's okay. I'll take an Uber. Go check on him. Don't let anything bad happen. Victoria looked torn, but eventually whispered. I'm not going to see him because I want to. I just remembered a work emergency nearby. I'll stop by. When I'm done, I'll come back to you. Ethan nodded, opened the door, and stepped out. Watching her car speed away, Ethan stood under his umbrella in the rain, his eyes dimming. After a moment, He smiled bitterly and began the long walk home. 3 years. It was time to end it. He had warmed the heart of this ice queen, or so he thought. But now, Ethan knew he was wrong. It was time to return the title of Mr. Sterling to its original owner. Thunder tore through the night sky, and the deluge that followed seemed to wash away the last traces of Ethan's affection for Victoria. Ethan slept alone. Victoria didn't return until noon the next day. When he woke, the rain was still falling. Ethan stayed home, calmly deleting every post about their marriage from his social media. Just as he finished, he saw a new post from Julian Thorne, the man who claimed to be dying yesterday. It was an Instagram carousel titled, "What It's Like to Be Spoiled by Your Ex." There were 9 photos. The first showed a usually cold Victoria feeding him porridge. The second showed her holding his hand by a bedside. The third showed the proud Victoria kneeling to help him with medication. The fourth was a pile of luxury goods, worth millions. The caption read, "Thanks to Tori's care, I'm not angry or hurting anymore." In the photos, the handsome man smiled sweetly, looking like a prince in a fairy tale. The comment section was filled with envy and acid. Left through the storm, returned as true love. Did Julian save the galaxy in a past life? Julian, how did you get your ex to be so devoted? Amidst the envy, there were those waiting to mock Ethan. Ethan scanned the comments. I wonder what Mr. Ethan thinks of this. What can a stand-in think? Did he really think saving the wedding made him the owner of the Sterling heart? I bet the dog is crying right now. How many minutes until he begs? I bet 10 minutes. 5. 1 minute. I bet my new Lamborghini, he's downstairs right now. People placed their bets with glee. Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of release. He wouldn't be Mr. Sterling much longer. Why chase a woman who had nothing to do with him? He quickly typed a reply. I bet a lifetime. He won't show. His comments stirred up a storm. Messages flooded in asking if he was joking. Ethan turned off his phone and went to the kitchen to cook some noodles. Suddenly, the landline rang. Ethan ignored it, but it kept ringing for minutes. Finally, the housekeeper, Mrs. Higgins, walked in looking awkward, holding her own cell phone. Sir, the missus wants to talk to you. Ethan took the phone. Ethan, it's a misunderstanding. I made Julian delete it. Don't overthink it. He was really sick yesterday. That's why I didn't come home. Nothing happened. Victoria's anxious voice came through. She had panicked the moment she saw his comment. Ethan looked at his noodles and said calmly, I made noodles. Coming back to eat. Victoria paused on the other end before replying. As long as you're not mad. Eat the noodles yourself. Julian's heart is acting up again. I'm taking him to the specialist. Don't worry, we're really just Friday. Before she could finish, Julian's frantic voice cut in. Tori, where are you? I can't see you. Did I lose you again? I am scared. The call ended abruptly, leaving only the memory of Victoria's soothing voice reassuring him. Ethan sent a text. The document you asked about yesterday is in the glove compartment. Open it and you'll know. 2 hours later, she replied, no need. If you ask me to sign it, it can't be anything bad. She wouldn't look. She was too busy being by Julian's side to care about anything not related to him, even if the divorce agreement was right at her fingertips. That afternoon, Ethan drove to the group home where he grew up to drop off supplies. The kids swarmed him, happy to see him. He went to the director's office to say goodbye. Director Martha, I'm going abroad for my doctorate. The director was thrilled. She knew he had given up a lot for his marriage. That's wonderful, Ethan. She paused, looking worried. But separating from Victoria? Long distance is hard. Ethan watched the kids playing outside. Not long distance. We divorced. Julian is back. Director Martha was stunned, then sighed. I knew that marriage was on borrowed time. Once the heart wanders, the vow is empty. It's good you're leaving. She held his hand. Ethan smiled back. Yes, it is good. Returning home, Ethan confirmed he could pick up the certificate in 5 days. He began packing. He realized his closet was full of expensive watches and car keys Victoria had given him. For 3 years, she had showered him with gifts, black cards, houses, cars. But he never touched them, because every time she gave him a gift, he saw guilt in her eyes. She was giving him the love she couldn't give the absent Julian. Ethan packed his own few belongings and sold every gift he had ever bought her to a recycling center. She had never looked at them anyway. Even the watch she once wore had been replaced by Julian's cheap bracelet. As a recycling truck left, a bright red Ferrari roared up. Bella Sterling, his sister-in-law, stepped out. She sneered at the truck. Selling cardboard now? Acting like the Sterlings are bankrupt. Ethan ignored her. Bella, furious at being ignored by the usually submissive Ethan, grabbed his arm. Hey, are you deaf? Ethan shook her off, his eyes cold. Bella had always hated him. thinking an orphan wasn't good enough for her high society family. Since my sister's true love is back, you, the substitute, can get lost. Behind her, a man in a white suit stepped out. It was Ethan's first real look at Julian Thorne. Peach blossom eyes, porcelain skin, looking expensive. But the suit, it was the exact style hanging in Ethan's closet. Ethan realized with a jolt. I really was just a mannequin for this look. Julian scanned Ethan with disdain, like looking at a cheap knockoff. But as Victoria's car pulled in, his face transformed into pure innocence. Bella, don't be mean to Mr. Ethan. He's your brother-in-law. What if he kicks me out? Victoria rushed over. Who's kicking you out? Victoria checked on Julian, sighing in relief, then turned to Ethan. Ethan, Julian's house is being renovated. Can he stay here for a few days? Ethan didn't speak. The silence made Julian act nervous. Tori, maybe I should go. It's my fault I missed the wedding. Now your husband is unhappy. Bella jumped in. Julian, why should you leave? If anyone goes, it should be him. Shut up, Bella. Victoria snapped. Ethan is my husband. Apologize or get out. Bella reddened. Ethan finally spoke, smiling faintly. It's fine. Stay. After all, in 5 days this house would belong to them anyway. Julian, make yourself at home. Ethan turned and walked inside. You just want to cling to power, Bella shouted after him. Inside, Victoria ordered the maids to move Julian into the best guest room. Bella marched up to Ethan. What are you standing there for? Go make dinner. Julian can't eat spicy food. Julian smirked. I heard Mr. Ethan is a great cook. Bella, that's enough. Victoria came down the stairs. We have staff. Why do you always make Ethan cook? Julian's eyes flashed with jealousy, but he quickly smiled at Victoria. I'll cook today. I'll learn a lot abroad. No, your heart. Victoria started. Let him cook. Bella insisted. Victoria relented. Fine, but don't tire yourself out. Ethan stood by the window, silent. Victoria walked over, sensing something wrong. Ethan, if you don't like him here, I'll send him away after dinner. No need. Ethan turned. Did you look at the document? Not yet. I trust you. Do I have to? Ethan was about to speak when Julian brought out a pot of hot soup. He looked at the couple standing together, jealousy surging. He feigned a slip, lunging toward Ethan, the boiling liquid flying. Watch out! Ethan instinctively shielded Victoria. The scalding soup splashed over his back. Pain seared through him, nearly causing him to faint. Ethan! Victoria pushed him back to look at him, panicked. I'll take you to the hospital. Ethan looked at Julian. I'm sorry, Mr. Ethan. Tori, thank God he blocked it for you. Ethan saw the gleam in Julian's eyes. You did it on purpose. Julian immediately teared up. How can you say that? I know you hate me, but I wouldn't burn you. Bella jumped in. Ethan, stop playing victim. Julian cooked for us. It was an accident. Victoria looked at Julian's tears, then at Ethan, frowning. Ethan, Julian wouldn't hurt anyone on purpose. Let's go to the hospital. Ethan felt a wave of despair. She wouldn't believe him. Just as they were leaving, Julian gasped. Oh God, my burn. He had a tiny blister on his arm. Julian. Victoria rushed to him. Julian clutched his chest. Ah, Tori, my heart. The stress. Am I going to die? Bella screamed. He's having an attack. Victoria grabbed Julian. I've got you. She looked at Ethan, guilt flashing in her eyes. Julian's heart is dangerous. The hospital is close. Ethan, take an Uber. She left, supporting Julian. Ethan stood alone, shivering in pain. He swallowed some painkillers the maid brought, then walked out into the rain, heading for the hospital alone, step by agonizing step away from the home. At the hospital, doctors treated his severe burns. His wife must be amazing, one doctor whispered sarcastically in the hall. She booked the whole VIP wing for a guy with a blister. Ethan laughed. 3 days later, he was discharged. His phone had 999 plus missed calls from Victoria. Bella called. Ethan, where did you go? Trying to get attention? My sister is going crazy looking for you. But don't dream. The sterling son-in-law will always be Julian. Ethan hung up. Victoria looking for him? Strange. He went home. The staff were relieved. Sir, the missus has been frantic. Victoria ran down the stairs. Ethan, she looked exhausted. I was at the hospital. The same one you were at. Ethan said. Victoria Saif, I didn't mean to leave you. The doctor said Julian couldn't be agitated. I'm used to taking care of him. Why didn't you answer your phone? You're my husband. Next time, don't do that, she scolded lightly. Ethan looked at her calmly. There is no next time. 2 days left. I moved Julian out, Victoria said, holding his hand. Don't be mad. She wanted a reaction. Ethan pulled his hand away and went upstairs. On the bed, there was a box of luxury watches. Compensation, she said. Ethan felt a surge of mockery. She thought he was faking anger for gifts. Just then, Bella and Julian walked in. Tori, Julian loves these watches. You bought them. Bella squealed. Victoria hesitative. Ethan picked up the box and handed it to Julian. Since he likes them, take them. Victoria was stunned. Ethan was never this generous with Julian. She thought he's just jealous. I'll make it up to him on our anniversary. One day left. The divorce cooling-off period was almost over. Ethan began shipping his luggage to London. Victoria called, "Come to the Sterling Gala tonight." Ethan wanted to refuse, but thinking of Mrs. Sterling's kindness, and it being the last day, he agreed. He wanted to say goodbye properly. At the gala, he couldn't find Victoria. A maid pointed him to a guest house. The door was ajar. Sounds of intimacy drifted out. Ethan felt sick. He looked through the crack. Julian was pressing Victoria against the sofa, kissing her neck. Victoria frowned, pushing him. Julian, stop. I'm married. Tori, don't leave me. Get off. I'm not a toy you could drop and pick up. Julian persisted. Finally, Victoria stopped fighting. She pulled him in and kissed him fiercely. When they broke apart, Julian wiped blood from his lip and smirked. So, do you still love me? Ethan felt like knives were piercing his heart. Victoria stood still, then looked at Julian with surrendered love. Yes. Julian smiled triumphantly. So, will you divorce Ethan and marry me? Victoria Estefanez. She remembered the wedding 3 years ago. The humiliation. The man who stood up for her. She turned and saw Ethan through the door. His eyes were filled with profound sadness. Ethan. Ethan turned and walked away. The faster he walked, the more the memories flooded back. The honeymoon where she got jealous because he looked at a woman on the beach. She had loved him in her possessive way. But now he knew. It wasn't love. It was fear of being alone. Ethan. Mrs. Sterling's voice stopped him. Ethan paused. Mrs. Sterling. Mrs. Sterling sighed and handed him a new passport and ID. The immigration papers and name change you asked for. Ethan Cole will cease to exist here. You have a new identity. Anything else? Ethan took the papers, hands trembling. A fresh start. Thank you. Just one thing. Never tell Victoria where I am. Did something happen? Mrs. Sterling noticed the bandages on his wrist peeking out from his cuff. Ethan, your burns. Ethan pulled down his sleeve. Please, just promise me. He didn't tell her about the scene in the guest house. What was the point? She had her first love back. Ethan. Victoria's frantic voice came from behind. She ran up, grabbing his hand. You're immigrating? She had searched everywhere for him. Hearing immigration terrified her. Ethan kept his face impassive. A friend of mine is immigrating. I was telling your mother. Really? Victoria held him tight, relief washing over her. Ethan, I know I've neglected you. But Julian is the past. My husband is you. If I did something wrong, yell at me, hit me, but never leave me. I can't find you if you go. Ethan smiled, detached. Okay, I won't leave. Victoria vint. Let's cut the cake. Ethan shook his head, showing his injured hand. Go with Julian. Julian walked up, looking aggrieved. Tori, enough, Julian. Ethan is my husband. Stay away from me, Victoria declared. The crowd watched as she took Ethan's arm, walking to the cake like a wedding march. Ethan looked at her smile. It looked so genuine, just like the wedding. Was the scene in the guest house fake? No. Suddenly, Bella screamed. Tori, bad news. Julian tried to commit suicide for you. Victoria dropped Ethan's hand and ran, leaving him standing alone on the stage, the center of awkward whispers. Ethan calmly put down the cake knife, bowed to the crowd, and walked away. He didn't look back. On the road, Victoria called incessantly. She begged him to come to the hospital. Ethan, please, I'll give you anything you want. Fine, Ethan said. At the hospital, Victoria was covered in blood, sobbing. It's my fault. I shouldn't have said those things. Ethan walked over. Bella grabbed him. Doctor, type A blood is here. Drain him. Ethan frowned. You call me to be a blood bag. He needs blood. Bella yelled. Ethan turned to leave. Victoria grabbed his hand, her face pale. Ethan, please, just this once. After this, I promise we'll be happy. Ethan looked at her. Just this once? Before he could refuse, she slapped him hard across the face. The corridor went silent. Ethan, stop being selfish. It's a life. It's all because of you. If you hadn't appeared, he wouldn't be like this. Because of him? Ethan looked at her red eyes and nodded. Okay, I'll go. He walked into the surgery room. He realized then, love is not something you can warm up like leftovers. He had lost from the start. The next day, Victoria woke up. Her first words were, Is Julian okay? Ethan, who hadn't slept, nodded. He's fine. Victoria insisted on seeing him. I'll go check, Ethan said. I'll tell him not to do anything stupid. It was time for him to leave. He went upstairs to Julian's room. He heard a woman's voice. Through the crack, he saw the dying Julian fondling a woman. Why suicide? My dear Tiffany, if I didn't act dramatic, how would I get the money? You said you'd introduce me to your parents. I will. Julian was cheating on Victoria too, and the suicide was a scam? The doctor walked in, exposing them. Julian saw Ethan and panicked. You. Ethan turned to leave. Julian chased him to the stairwell. Are you going to tattle? Why pursue her if you have someone else? Ethan asked coldly. Julian laughed. I like playing them. I like the money. I don't have heart disease. I just overslept for the wedding 3 years ago. Julian sneered. You're just a stand-in. She's just using you to fill the void. I'll play with her until I'm bored. Ethan punched him. Julian let himself fall down the stairs just as Victoria arrived. She slapped Ethan again. Ethan, you animal. He's a victim. Victim. Ethan looked at her. Julian cried in her arms. Tori, don't blame him. Ethan turned and walked away. Ethan, apologize or we divorce. Victoria screamed. Ethan checked his phone. 7 hours to his flight. He went home, packed, and watched Julian send him taunting videos of Victoria serving him. Ethan threw everything away, deleted every contact. 1 hour left. At the airport, a strange number called. It was Victoria. Why did you delete me? Her voice was soft. Julian's parents are here. I'm sorry about yesterday. Let's talk. No need, Ethan said, looking at the planes. I gave you what you wanted a month ago. What? Victoria was interrupted by another call. Julian. She switched over. Ethan walked through security. Goodbye, Boston. Goodbye, Victoria. Victoria hung up, feeling a strange panic. She looked at a plane flying overhead. Bella pulled her. Tori, let's go see Julian. Victoria frowned but followed. At the hospital, Julian's parents were bragging about the impending marriage. Victoria felt sick. She was married to Ethan. Julian clung to her. Tori, if you're worried about Mr. Ethan, I'll just leave. Suddenly, Tiffany Vance and her father, General Vance, marched in with soldiers. Dad, that's him. The cheater. General Vance pointed a gun at Victoria. Let go of my daughter. General Sterling arrived and slapped Victoria. You ungrateful child. You let this trash chase away my son-in-law. The truth came out. The crowd turned on Julian. Bella tried to defend him. Tiffany threw down photos of Bella and Julian in bed together. The hospital exploded in chaos. Julian collapsed, begging. Victoria stood frozen. He left. Tiffany sneered. Ethan said he never wants to see you again. Victoria dropped to the floor, crawling toward the door. Ethan, no. Her father kicked her down. Lock them up. 6 hours later, Ethan landed in London. He walked toward the gates of St. Jude's University. A woman in a white dress, beautiful and elegant, walked up to him. Student Ethan Cole, I am Chloe Summers. I'm here to pick you up. Her eyes burned with an intensity that made Ethan's heart skip a beat. Chloe Summers? Ethan recognized the name, the genius physicist. He had met her years ago. Hello, Chloe. I'm Ethan. Or actually, I should say I'm Seth Evans now. Don't blow my cover. Chloe smiled. I know. I've been waiting for a Seth Evans all along. She winked. Back in Boston, the Sterling house was a war zone. Julian and his parents were detained. Julian confessed everything under Victoria's cold interrogation. I faked the heart disease. I wanted the money. I hate Ethan because he took my place. Victoria beat him until her knuckles bled. You liar. You never loved anyone. She realized too late how blind she had been. Retribution? Fine. But congratulations, Victoria. You've lost the only person who loved you. Julian spat. Victoria left the room, broken. She resigned from her company and enlisted in a UN peacekeeping mission to Africa. A self-imposed exile. Ethan, if I come back alive, I'll find you. Time passed. The Sterling stock tanked. Bella was exiled. Julian was thrown into a mental asylum. But in the Sterling villa, Ethan's room remained untouched. 3 years later, Victoria returned, limping with a cane. Her father told her where Ethan was. At St. Jude's University, students whispered about the handsome Professor Seth. Ethan sat under a tree. Chloe handed him pastries. Here, Seth. I made them. Ethan smiled. Thanks, Chloe. They had been inseparable for 3 years. She handed him an old notebook. Ethan opened it. It was his handwriting from the orphanage. When I grow up, will you be my bride, 7? Beneath it, new writing. 7 is 24 now. Are you going to marry me yet, Ethan? Ethan looked up, stunned. You're 7. Surprise. Chloe laughed. I've been waiting for you to heal. They talked until the moon rose. As Ethan walked back to the dorms, he saw a figure. Victoria, leaning on a cane, looking broken. Ethan. Victoria whipped. Ethan stepped back, a defensive reflex. That small movement shattered Victoria's heart. Ms. Sterling, you have the wrong person. I am Seth Evans. Ethan, I came to explain. I don't care, Ethan said coldly. Does sorry fix the past? He looked at her leg. Go home. I don't love you. I haven't for a long time. Please, Victoria begged, trying to hug him. He stepped away. This is the last time. I wish you and Julian happiness. Leave me alone. Ethan walked away. Victoria collapsed, wailing in the night. She finally understood the pain she had inflicted. Later, Ethan sat by the physics building, crying. Chloe found him. She held him while he wept for the past. Do you still love her? Chloe asked. No, Ethan said. Then tell her clearly, so you can have a future. The next few days, Victoria stood on the campus track, watching him. Rumors spread. The dean asked Ethan to handle it. Ethan went to the track. Victoria. She looked at him with hope. Give up. Look at you. You're not the woman I admired. You're pathetic. His words were cold. I'm leaving. Goodbye. He walked away. Victoria tried to chase him, but fell. She realized it was truly over. Victoria left without saying goodbye. She knew she had lost him, but the tragedy of her departure was what she carried in her pocket. Before flying across the ocean, she had naively visited the courthouse and filled out a marriage license application, listing Ethan as the groom. She had brought it with her, foolishly thinking that if she just showed up, he would sign it, and they could be legally married again, erasing the past 3 years. Now, that piece of paper burned against her chest, a symbol of her utter delusion. She returned to Boston with a vengeance, channeling her heartbreak into cold fury. She didn't just punish Julian, she destroyed the entire Thorne family. She tracked down their hidden assets and stripped them of everything, forcing them into a squalid existence in a rundown shack on the outskirts of the city. There, trapped in poverty, Julian's parents turned on him. Blaming their son for their ruin, the household became a cycle of abuse. Julian, once the pampered prince, was beaten daily by his own bitter parents, tormented by the very people he had tried to impress. Winter came. It was Ethan's 25th birthday. Jude threw a massive gala. Ethan stood in a tuxedo, Chloe in a purple gown by his side. They were a perfect couple. The doors opened. Victoria entered. She looked tired but determined. She walked up to Ethan. Chloe stepped forward, holding Ethan's hand tightly. Happy birthday, Ethan, Victoria said, her voice shaking. I brought you a gift. It's unique. I don't want it, Ethan said. Please, just one look. Then I'll leave. Ethan nodded. Fine. Victoria signaled. Security dragged in 4 people in handcuffs. Julian's parents, Bella, and a deranged Julian Thorne, looking more like a feral animal than a man. Ethan, why are you happy? You should die. Julian screamed, lunging. Victoria kicked him down. Apologize, she screamed at them. Tell everyone what we did. Bella, half her face scarred from Victoria's punishment, suddenly grabbed a steak knife from a table. She rushed at Ethan. No. Victoria threw herself in front of the blade. It pierced her chest. Victoria. But in the chaos, Julian grabbed the knife and lunged at Ethan. Ethan. Chloe threw herself in front of him. The knife went into her stomach. I won't let you hurt him. Chloe whispered, collapsing. Police swarmed in. Both women were rushed to the hospital. The doctor told Ethan that Chloe might never wake up. Ethan felt his world collapse. Ethan stayed by Chloe's side for days. Victoria, bandaged and pale, approached him. Ethan. He slapped her. Why won't you leave me alone? I just wanted forgiveness. Never, Ethan said. If Chloe doesn't wake up, I will never forgive you. When she fell, I realized she is the only one who matters. Leave. Victoria wept and left, finally accepting her fate. 3 years later, Ethan sat by Chloe's bed. Chloe, Julian got life in prison. Victoria is back in the army. Please wake up. I want to marry you. A tear fell on her hand. Her finger moved. Ethan left to teach his class, wiping his eyes. In the lecture hall, the students went silent. The door opened. Chloe, leaning on the wall, smiled weakly. Professor Evans. Can I audit this class? I'm here to take you home. 10 years later, Ethan came home to 2 kids hugging his legs. Daddy, the equation. Chloe was in the kitchen. Welcome home, honey. I'm home. Ethan smiled. Story complete.